Hello, I'm Barbara Parmenter with the 350 Mass Housing Campaign Retrofit Team. This presentation has been prepared by the Housing Retrofit Campaign Team, and we hope it helps you understand critical upcoming climate issues in our state. Gaslight, as most of you know, was a 1944 film with Ingrid Bergman and Charles Boyer. If you haven't seen it, then find it and watch it, because it gave us the term gaslighting, which is what the gas industry is doing to us right now. Next. As citizens, consumers, and advocates, we are facing and acting on 5 major issues. We'll go over each of these in a little more detail, but here they are. Utilities are increasing rates, causing pressure on everyone and real suffering for many, and making some argue that we need more, not less, fossil fuel production. The Massachusetts Department of Energy Resources, DOER, proposed a new opt-in building code that is supposed to be net zero but isn't. Our regional power grid operator, ISO New England, suddenly backtracked on its promise to end a policy that undermines renewable energy. MassSave is still subsidizing gas, and gas utilities are arguing we need more gas and more gas infrastructure in our future, paid for by us. Next. It's one agenda for the gas company, and even though these are 5 issues, they want gas to stay in our future. Let's take these issues one at a time. Next. First of all, rising gas and electricity prices. Next. We've all seen our bills and heard the news. Gas prices are rising dramatically, and because a lot of our electricity is still generated by gas, electricity prices are rising as well. Next. That's because of Russia's horrendous invasion of Ukraine and the sanctions we've imposed, right? Nope. Despite what you hear and all the clamor saying we need to produce more fossil fuels, Russia's war in Ukraine was not the original cause of increasing prices. Next. Well before this winter and before the invasion and all the suffering it has caused, gas companies asked our DPU to raise rates, and that's what's happening across the country. Next. Increasing prices is a challenge everyone sees, but there's a lot more happening behind the scenes. The gas industry is doing all it can to make sure it's a big part of our energy future. Climate advocates know we need to lower our fossil fuels. The 350 Mass Bring the Green New Deal Home campaign is trying to reduce our use of fossil fuels in buildings, transportation, and the grid. So let's go through some of these issues and what we're doing. Next. First up is the Massachusetts Department of Energy Resources, or DOER, undermining its mission to create a new net zero stretch code. Next. This is a slide from DOER's presentation of its straw proposal for what they call a specialized opt-in stretch code. Stretch codes are optional additions to the state's basic building code. We have an existing stretch code that most Massachusetts towns and cities have adopted. It requires higher building energy efficiency in new construction. The proposed new net zero stretch code would be an additional opt-in option on top of this existing stretch code. That's important because we want at least new construction to be as energy efficient as possible, since retrofitting older homes and buildings is complicated enough. The requirement for DOER to develop new net zero opt-in stretch code was part of the Next Generation Roadmap legislation passed last year. The legislature was pretty clear about what they wanted, but DOER's straw proposal falls short. Here's an example of the net zero code for new residential construction that can include fossil fuels. Wait, what? How can you have an optional net zero building code that allows new housing construction with fossil fuels? Isn't that just the regular building code that already exists and is the default? Oh, they say you would have to put solar on the roof if you can, but if it's not feasible, well, no worries. And it does have to be pre-wired for electrification for a future conversion at some point. Really? Sometime in the future, they could get rid of fossil fuels? Why not now? And the worst part at the moment is that this new code could potentially ban towns from passing real, stronger net zero building codes on their own. much like Brookline's gas ban was recently shot down. Next. What are we doing? Zero should mean zero. In new construction, no greenhouse gas emissions from heating buildings, using stoves, and heating water, and electricity should come from non-emitting sources. Lots of allies are working on the DOER fix right now. 350 Mass, Mothers Out Front, the Massachusetts Climate Action Network, Gaslit Allies, Sierra Club, many others. Comments on the DOER's straw proposal were due in March. DOER is scheduled to write and release a full draft of the net zero stretch code language this summer, so we hope it will be much improved. But please keep in touch about this. More comments will be needed on the full draft. The final proposal will be released in the fall, with implementation planned to be done by December of this year. So there's lots more to do. In the meantime, 350 Mass and allies are also working on a bill in the legislature to fix this if DOER doesn't change the draft. The bill would tell DOER to do it and do it right. Next. Now to ISO New England. We're all trying to electrify our buildings and our vehicles. The idea being that although electricity is mostly generated now through the use of fossil fuels, we can over time replace those with renewable fuels. So if our homes and cars are electric, the decarbonization of our electricity grid will in turn reduce the emissions of greenhouse gases. Right now, about 21% of our electricity is created by renewable energy, but with new sources coming online, that share will go up and greenhouse gas emissions will go down. And everyone wants more renewables, right? Wrong. Turns out our regional grid operator, ISO New England, does not, at least not for the next 2 years. ISO New England operates our regional power grid and it administers the wholesale electricity market in our region. The state, the federal government, and ISO New England itself, up until a few months ago, wanted to get rid of what is called the minimum offer price rule, or MOPR. It's a pricing rule that has been in effect to support the fossil fuel industry during the transition to renewables by making sure they would not suddenly lose financing due to state-supported renewables coming in at lower bids. It was kind of a bridge to a more renewable future during this transition. Everyone wanted to see that rule go away now for the next round of bids so that renewable power could start more easily entering the market. But then ISO New England changed its mind. Next. It has asked the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC, that MOPR be extended for 2 more years. That continues to favor fossil fuel industries because it makes it impossible for state-supported wind and solar energy producers to put in a lower bid and thus be in a competitive position to win bids, ensuring financing in the future. Next. What are we doing? Lots of folks are focusing on getting the FERC to reject ISO New England's proposal. FERC is the last line of defense. We had the Fix the Grid rally in March. We are appealing to all interested parties to urge FERC to reject the proposal. We are in touch with our U.S. congressional delegation to appeal to FERC. We need to get this proposal rejected. Next. In our own domain as the 350 Mass Housing Retrofit Campaign, we had high hopes for the new Mass Save 3-year plan. And it is doing good things, but DPU could make it do more. Instead, it's making Mass Save do less. Next. That's right, DPU is allowing Mass Save to effectively say, not ready to go electric yet? No problem, we can help you pay to put in a new gas furnace. Wait, what? Shouldn't we not be subsidizing new gas appliances no matter how efficient they are? It's time to electrify our homes and businesses. We all won't be getting rid of our old gas boilers immediately, but should ratepayers be paying for new gas systems? And there's more bad news. Next. Because at least we should be able to get Mass Save to subsidize solar panels, right? Nope. The DPU has decided that the legislation instructed it only to concern itself with reducing overall energy use, not with reducing greenhouse gas emissions by changing to a non-emitting source. A solar panel thus doesn't count for subsidies. And the DPU also lowered funding for environmental justice communities. Despite the Next Generation Roadmap legislation, explicitly defining EJ communities and singling them out for additional assistance. Next. What are we doing? We're working on legislation to require mass save to stop subsidizing fossil fuels and start subsidizing solar power. Next. And finally, as part of the DPU's regulatory process to lower greenhouse gas emissions, the gas industry in Massachusetts is producing a Future of Gas report with its vision of the future. Next. And in that future, the gas industry burns bright with so-called renewable gas and hydrogen gas, and converting existing gas pipes to these new products, and building an even more expanded network of pipelines to bring all of this wonderful stuff right into our homes. And we are supposed to pay for this. Next. Let's not go there. There's still so much we need to know about feasibility and safety and about the appropriateness of these fuels in different capacities and uses, especially in our own homes. It's complexity upon complexity when we already have renewable tools we need. Next. What are we doing? 350 Mass is working with allies to write legislation to prevent investments in and charging us, the ratepayers, for these new gas product experiments. Likewise, we are putting pressure on the DPU and the Massachusetts Attorney General to block this push from gas companies to make us ratepayers pay for their gas-filled future. Next. It's one battle for the gas industry. Preserve the gas industry by any means necessary. Next. The gas industry wants more of this. Paid for by ratepayers. We say no. Thank you from the 350 Mass Housing Retrofit Campaign. It's time now to take a very quick action. It only takes a couple of minutes. We have full instructions at this link, bit.ly/350-no gas in mass, with each of those initial letters capitalized. We'll take you through this action step by step now for the last couple of minutes of this video, so please write down this link. We're going to ask the State Attorney General's Office to more closely monitor the DPU and to intervene in the gas utilities proposal to pass costs for their gas experimental plans on to us. But first, we're going to swap screens here. Just bear with us for a minute and I'll turn my camera on. Hello. Here are the instructions for the Actionar. Again, it will only take a couple of minutes. And there's the link again, in case you didn't get it written down. We're going to go to the Attorney General's website to file a consumer complaint. So we're going to click on this link right here. And that takes us to the Attorney General's website for filing a consumer complaint. And we're going to click right here for file a complaint online. And again, all these instructions are on the instruction sheet, so you can do it on your own or follow along with me here. And there's things on the instruction sheet that you can copy and paste into this complaint. So here's the complaint form. You're going to fill this out. We're going to go down to About Your Issue. And again, this is on the instruction sheet as well, but we're going to click on Other under About Your Issue. And for other issue type, we're going to say Utility, because we're complaining about the gas utilities. So we're going to keep scrolling down. The complaint again is going to be against the Department of Public Utilities. And you don't have to fill in anything more on this in this section, because the AG knows the Department of Public Utilities. Under the complaint detail, you're going to say, I am seeking, or I'm letting the AGO know about this business or trade practice. And then in the complaint summary on our Actionar instructions, we have, if you scroll down, these are all the instructions I just went through. Scroll down to number 7, we have something you can copy and paste, or you can write your own. I'm going to copy it and paste it here. And I'll just go over it quickly. As a citizen, I'm making the following complaints. I am telling the AG that the DPU has reduced mass save incentives and incentives to serve low-income communities, that the DPU has preserved ratepayer-funded incentives for gas appliances, and that the DPU has rejected a proposal to incentivize solar. I'm asking the Attorney General to argue that the DPU actions are counterproductive to the state climate goals and should be in alignment with the legislation that we passed last year. I'm also asking the Attorney General to intervene at the DPU in the rate cases for the future of gas to stop the utilities from raising the rates on us to support their gas experiments. So again, you can just copy and paste that from the instructions. If you scroll down just a little bit, we're almost done. The desired outcome is that I want the AGU, I need the AGO's help in mediating or resolving my complaint. And you can leave it at that, or under select actions you've already taken to address this issue, you could put other and just say, I'm working with 350 Mass to create, if I could spell it right, a fossil fuel free future. And that's also in the instructions, or you could write anything else you're doing there. After that, you simply fill out your own information there. You sign it and you click the submit button. And you should get an email pretty quickly from the AGO's office that they've received your complaint. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. So thank you very much for watching this webinar and for taking that quick action. You can watch more, stay tuned for more Actionars from the 350 Mass Housing Retrofit Campaign team. You can do that by going to the 350 Mass Slack channel. There's the Housing Campaign has a channel there, Housing Campaign 2021-2022. Or you can go on to the 350 Mass website under their events tab. We always, at our live webinars, Actionars, have a lively discussion and we try to answer everybody's questions. So it's always a good and interesting time. So thank you again for your time. And here's to a fossil fuel free future.